If you would, please go ahead and take your seats. On behalf of Chairman Stone and I want to welcome you to this joint House and Senate Judiciary Committee hearing for the governor's nominee for the business court clerk. I think everybody has figured this out, but we have spaced seating on this side for our senators and for our House members on this side over here. What we'll do, just so everybody knows, we will, if you're going to speak to us, we'll call you up to the witness stand. And then we also have Ms. Davis, you're going to be over here. So come on up. We're going to have a microphone in front of you dedicated for you. Chairman Stone, would you like to open us with a word of prayer?
Certainly.
All right.
If you would join me, bow your heads. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come together and act, make decisions for the future of Georgia. Guide us with your wisdom. Give us courage and strength to do what you would have done. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Chairman Stone and I have discussed before the meeting, we have done this before as a joint hearing when we approved the confirmation for Judge Davis for the business court. I understand that the Senate, as usual, has some other responsibilities to get to today. So the way we intend to do this is we are going to have the governor's office come speak to us, Judge Davis, Attorney General Sam Owens, and of course Ms. Davis, the nominee. And then Senator Stone will take over, and any questions that the senators may have, and he's going to finish his meeting and have his vote, and then we'll bring it back over to the House side, and we'll have any questions any House members has or any witnesses you'd like to have called up to speak, and then we'll take our vote so we can help accommodate their schedule. Senator Stone, isn't that what we talked about?
That's it.
All right. Well, Senator Stone, if it's okay with you, I'll go ahead and ask Ivy Pico-Pratt's assistant counsel to the general counsel to the governor's office, if he would come on up and introduce to us today the governor's nominee for the clerk of the statewide business court. Welcome. Now try.
Can you hear me now? There we go. Good afternoon, Chairman Stone, Chairman Fleming, and members of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. My name is Javier Pico, and I'm here on behalf of the governor's office to present Angie Davis for consideration for first clerk of the Georgia Statewide Business Court. And I'll be very brief. I know we're on a timetable, but Angie comes highly recommended to us from Judge Davis. She has over 30 years of court management experience, having served as court mediator, court clerk, and administrator of magistrate court, chief deputy of the state court, and clerk of the Cobb County State Court since 2013. From personal experience, I know Angie's been a pleasure to work with throughout this entire process, and I know she'd bring a wealth of experience to this role. Now it's my honor to present to you Angie Davis and hope for your favorable consideration for confirmation as the first clerk of the Georgia Statewide Business Court. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. We appreciate you being here with us today.
Thank you, sir.
If you would hang tight in case anybody has any questions, we'll call you back up. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I think the next person that we had on the agenda was Attorney General Sam Owens. Sam, if you want to come up here to the microphone, and after him we'll call Judge Davis up, and then we'll go to Angie Davis, and then we'll turn it over to Senator Stone. Good to have you with us.
My pleasure. I didn't know I was going to see the Judiciary Committee so soon. I thought you all saw plenty of me at the end of the session, but it's a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to be in front of you, chairs and committee members. It's my honor to have been asked and to be here today. I have known the Davis family for over 20 years. I know the Davis family from back when I was a district commissioner and when I was chairman of the county. I worked with Angie's mom, Harvita Moon, who's here. I worked with Angie's stepdad, Virgil Moon. I saw her husband start and grow a very successful business in that time frame. And I frankly have known their two daughters since they were both probably about 4 and 6, 3 and 5. I'm here to tell you that the governor's office could not have made a better choice in a real quality individual, someone who is always over-prepared, understated and always delivers. I'm not going to talk about the years in magistrate court and state court, et cetera, as that was referenced. I'm here to simply tell you that, the state court of Cobb is not like DeKalb and many other courts where they separate traffic court from civil court and misdemeanor court. It's everything. So when you're the clerk of that court, you're literally dealing with approximately 12 judges each and every day. You're dealing with tens of thousands of files. You're dealing with millions and millions of dollars. And in the time that Angie Davis has been at that court, there's never been a negative article. There's never been anything other than superb about the running of the clerk's office. The clerk's office years ago that I remember was still working on pencils. And now it is fully automated, fully integrated, online, electronic, once again, without the lawyers in the community complaining. But I think what I want to say most to you is that when you look at Miss Davis, you're looking at a woman who excels at everything she does. Excels as a spouse, excels as a daughter, excels as a mother, excels as a friend. She is a mentor to her office. She's a leader for her office. She's never in the paper. She's never seeking attention. She just seeks to do what's right and to do a great job. And I'm confident that she will continue and do a great job for the state of Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. And if you also would hang around in case we'll come back for questions to members when everybody's done. Okay, next, Judge Davis, Walt Davis. Of course, Judge Davis was approved last year by these joint committees as our first statewide business court judge. And he was very much involved with the governor's office on bringing to us this nominee for a clerk. Judge, good to have you, and we'd love to hear from you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today. Let me start with a bit of an update. I know I only have 4 minutes, but it's been 11 months and 13 days since I was in Ms. Davis's chair, and I'm very glad that I'm up here and not over there. In a mere 4 days, the e-filing system goes live, and on Monday, the statewide business court will open for business. But we have one big gaping hole to fill, and I'm appreciative of all of you for making the time to be here and considering Ms. Davis, I guess I have to call you Ms. Davis, but Angie's nomination. When I was in practice, I rarely spent a second thinking about the clerk's office. It was one of those indispensable groups that gave me a hard time for what I called my filing, or always closed a minute too early, and I was racing down to the courthouse to get it filed. But I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with judges over the last year, and every single one of them had said, "Don't screw this up." I've had the opportunity to spend time with the clerks of the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals, Steve Caslin and T. Barnes. And in every respect, those two are the conscience and caretakers of their respective courts. And about a year ago, I cold called Angie and said, "Hey, I'd love to chat with you about this thing called the statewide business court, and maybe get your thoughts on somebody I ought to think about choosing." Quickly turned to, obviously, I had not been completely forthright because I was hoping to ask her. And she said two things. One, I love my job. Two, I love to serve. And three, I'm extremely proud of my constituency in Cobb. And she said, "But I'm willing to help you however I can." And for the last year, on a pro bono basis, every time I asked Angie for something, for advice, to spend time looking at something I was considering, she was there and spent the time with no guarantee that she'd be sitting in this chair today. And that is who she is, and that's what you've heard described by the distinguished speakers before me. And that is why I'm excited about her nomination, is as we think about what the business court can be going forward, I have every hope and every expectation that, like Mr. Caslin and like Ms. Barnes, she will become the conscience and the caretaker for the statewide business court. And with that, I ask for your favorable consideration of her nomination today. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. And if you would, like the other witnesses, please stick around in case our members have questions when we get to that point. Okay. All right. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Davis herself. Ms. Davis, good to see you today. Thanks for coming. Please tell us a little about yourself, and then we'll turn it over to Senator Stone. All right. Let's see. Try now.
Hello? Is
There
that
you go.
better?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Good afternoon, Chairman Stone and Chairman Fleming, and distinguished House and Senate committee members. I am incredibly honored and humbled to be before you today. I want to thank Governor Kemp and Judge Davis for their faith and confidence in my ability to serve as the first clerk of the Georgia Statewide Business Court. And Sam, I greatly appreciate you being here and for your kind remarks. I'd also like to acknowledge, and I'm not going to name everybody individually, my family and friends that are in the back. I love you, and I'm so blessed to have you in my corner, and I'm so proud that you can be here. I know that House sponsors, Representative Efstration and Chairman Fleming, have high expectations for this court. I appreciate Chairman Stone, Senator Kennedy, and others on this committee who have worked to make this court a model for the rest of the country. I know the business community has worked very hard to give litigants a path to take complex business matters, to have those matters resolved in a timely and competent way, and that there are many eyes watching how this court performs. As many of you know, and as Judge Davis referenced, the clerk is the guardian of court records and has a fiduciary responsibility to receipt and disperse funds. The court must have an authentic record of pleadings and orders and dispositions. And while clerks traditionally, manage their e-filings, manage their case management systems, the clerk of the Georgia Statewide Business Court is going to have to establish those systems from the ground up and implement those systems. I think it's key that your clerk, working with Judge Davis in establishing what needs to be measured as everyone's going to be watching that court, then the clerk then has the competency in ensuring the integrity of those metrics. An effective clerk needs to have a solid grasp on how those e-filings are coming in, how the filings and the data is transferred to your case management systems, and how that data is stored. I think we all know that the data that we're going to be pulling out of that system, those metrics, is only as good as what we're inputting. And so that's the caretaker part that is so important in a clerk's role. I want this joint committee to know that I'm up for the task. I have the experience and the skill set to take on the role. My entire career has been committed to court management and public service. Being an elected official, I know the importance of being responsive to the public and to my constituency. The prospect of serving in a specialized court for the state of Georgia is so incredibly exciting. I'm driven by the idea of developing a first-in-class court. And Chairman Fleming, to use a descriptor that I heard you say in Judge Davis's confirmation hearing, that's the gold standard that my office currently operates under and has a reputation for pursuing. And I'd love to be able to bring that to the Georgia Statewide Business Court. The thought of helping write the playbook in this new historic court is also incredibly exciting. Building a court from scratch is obviously different than walking to an organization that has well-defined roles and responsibilities, which is why I believe it's critical for the judge and the clerk to be in place who are going to collaborate and work through those processes. I think my experience in state court have prepared me for that. During my time as clerk and chief deputy, my office has made significant strides in innovation and implementing technology to better serve our stakeholders. We've implemented online payments of traffic cases, online civil and criminal docket information. All of our court records are now digitized, which not only helps members of the bar and the general public, but also our internal stakeholders, our judges, our staff attorneys, our prosecutors. We've rolled out civil e-filing in 2016, and through a great partnership with our e-filing vendor, we were able to quickly onboard criminal e-filing during the early stages of the COVID pandemic. With all these innovations, we were writing a new playbook. So I feel like I've been there and I've done that, and that we walked that path successfully. Over the last 5 years, I've had the opportunity to serve on the county's selection committee for a new unified court case management system. Through that process, I've had extensive exposure to all of the top-tier case management systems, and having a seat at that table has provided me with a solid understanding of the workings of these systems. I believe I share the vision and the values and the temperament to align with Judge Davis's goals to build a business court that incorporates the very best practices and operates professionally. I consider myself to be honest and loyal and work hard to establish strong relationships with people. As we all know, while this court's located in Atlanta, the court's serving all of Georgia, so building strong relationships with those other courts throughout the state will be critical. And given the need to dispense of some of the other comments so that we can move forward with this, that concludes my prepared remarks, and I'll be happy to answer any questions the best I can.
All right, at this point, we're going to take it up as a business item on the Senate Judiciary's agenda. First, are there any questions from members of the committee, including our 3 ex officios that are here today? Just raise your hand if you'd like to ask Ms. Davis any questions. We did provide bios in advance to aid in the decision, so that should be in your folder. I don't see any hands raised. So it would be appropriate now to entertain a motion. Recognize Senator Martin.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much, Angie, for coming this afternoon. She seems well vetted, and she comes with great pedigree, and I would like to make a motion to confirm the governor's appointee, Angie Davis, for Georgia Statewide Business Court. That's appropriate this time.
And I believe I saw a second from Senator Albers. All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hands. Appears to be unanimous. All opposed? See if there's anybody skulking about. Well, you're halfway there.
Thank you so much.
Now comes the tough part. Got to deal with the House. Senator, thank you so much. Senators, you are welcome to stay. I'll even recognize you if you have a question. We were accommodating the schedule of some of your members. So what we intend to do at this time, now that the Senate committee has taken their action, we'll come back to the House committee and see if there is any questions any of you have for either Judge Davis, Ms. Davis, the governor's office, their general counsel that spoke, or Attorney General Sam Owens. Also, of course, when we have hearings such as this, we do normally open it up to the public. I don't think we had a sign-up sheet today because of the slightly unusual nature of this, but if there is someone in the public that wanted to make a comment, the chair certainly would entertain that as well. So at this time, are there any members of the House that have any questions that they would like to ask any of the witnesses that you've heard from so far? Press your button, Chairman Welch, there. Let's see. Now, try now.
All right, there we go. Ms. Davis, thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here. We, of course, appreciate the governor's nomination of you for the position of clerk. Could you, and I apologize because I walked in a little bit late, could you explain to me what your vision is for the clerk's office in the business court? And number one. And number two is, how do you see yourself as effectuating the prominence of the court throughout the state? In other words, how to give it more recognition so that it actually does take on more of the business cases and facilitate a quicker resolution to business disputes, which I think will further the goals of the state, which is to have a business-friendly climate so that people in dispute in a business context can have those disputes resolved quickly.
And I'll just warn you, Judge Davis, did you hear that question? When Ms. Davis gets through, I'm going to ask you to come up to the podium and address that as well. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Thank you so much. I think that given that, one of the historic natures of this court is it's going to be the first court in the state of Georgia to be almost exclusively have files in a digital format from the onset. And so I think that that's going to be a key factor in making sure that the establishment of the e-filing system and the case management system can support that. I think as to as to growing the court and as to promoting the court, I go back to when I referenced those strong relationships. I think reaching out and building a network of relationships with other courts and communicating the business court and our processes and procedures is also key to that. I know that Judge Davis and his staff have started those efforts, and as clerk, I would definitely do whatever I could to support those from my role.
Follow-up question at this time, Representative?
Yes, if I may. So, in terms of the service that you've done before, how do you translate that service into the promotion of this new court? I'm just still trying to get my head around how do you launch this court? How do you get it going? And so I'm looking for a little bit more details in terms of how do you help promote it, and how do you assist Judge Davis in that promotion across that? You've got a huge network, right? I mean, being a former clerk, you've got a huge network of people to talk to, and I would think that would provide an opportunity for you to reach out to superior courts across the state, and help to try to pull in those cases that might look at this as a good jurisdiction for their case.
Yes, sir. I think our approach whenever we've brought up any of these additional solutions, technology solutions, in my court, it's reaching out to your stakeholders, reaching out to your bar associations, reaching out to the users of the court, and educating them. It's having groups of come in and do trainings on our systems and how to interact with our systems, working with vendors. Our current e-filing vendor has always been great to come to the table and offer up those work sessions for us to bring in attorneys and show them how to navigate our court and how to best filing practices. And I think we would have to take the same approach here with the business court.
Judge Davis, while you make your way up to the podium, and I'm going to let you respond to Representative Welch's question also, come on up. Now that we don't have quite the time constraints, I want you to introduce your husband to us, Ms. Davis, and embarrass your two pretty daughters back there for us, okay?
I would love to do that. My husband in the back, Sean Davis. Sean is my biggest encourager and supporter, and helps me navigate all things, and especially during this process, he's had my back the whole time, and so I appreciate him. Riley and Reagan, our precious daughters. Riley is 18 going on 19.
Y'all stand up so you can be fully embarrassed. There we go, okay.
She is headed off to college. She's going to Samford University outside of Birmingham in a month. And Reagan is 16, got her license, I've lost track of my days, got her license this week. Drove to campus for the first time today on her own, and very proud of her. So she's a rising junior. And then my parents, Harbita and Virgil Moon, who have raised me to put everything to God and just that He would lead my path, and I think that's why I'm here today. And my trusted friend and executive assistant, Marshall Bedford, is here. She knows my every need before I even know it in the office. Mm-hmm. And last but definitely not least, my lifelong friend and work partner and Chief Deputy Clerk, Robin Bishop. And I'm so blessed to have him in my corner, for sure. Thank you for the opportunity.
And Judge, before we let you say what you want to say, why don't you introduce some of the people? Didn't you bring some folks with you today?
Thank you for that.
Please introduce them to us.
In the back, I have my whole staff together for the first time, even though two of them won't start until September due to some of our rolling furloughs on the front end. But on the left, I've got Lynette Jimenez. Lynette comes to us from the Metro Atlanta Business Court. She was program director and senior staff attorney there. And so when you see somebody at your competitor who's strong and talented, what do? You go out and hire them. And I'm so glad to have her on board. She's been a huge asset. Even she's been there a week. One of the most impressive things about her is every time I ended up at a speaking engagement on sort of the rubber chicken circuit over the first latter part of last year and first part of this year, the Metro Atlanta Court sent Lynette to speak on behalf of their court, which just spoke volumes to me, and she's been a huge asset. Darlene Rectors, our judicial assistant. Darlene joins us after 45 years at Jones Day, and she was my legal assistant and is indispensable and is one of my closest friends, and I'm so glad to have her support with the court. I also have my 2 term clerks, both of which are distinguished graduates from the University of Georgia. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
And so we are going to be, as I think we explained before, we're going to be, in the words of Hamilton, young, hungry, and scrappy, and prepared to do the work of the court. To take on, and I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the Administrative Office of the Courts, who also is supporting us in all of our back office. And I'd be remiss because I know that Cynthia would give me a hard time later if I didn't. So thank you for being here. So, to Representative Welch's question, and I'll be brief. It's a real challenge. I think I had a great plan going into this year, and just as we all in various aspects of our life, best laid plans got derailed. I think I was up to 62 speaking engagements by February. And then I assure you I didn't run out of people to talk to, but it became much more challenging to engage with them. There are so many positives and so many silver linings, but for those of you who have gotten a chance to know me over the last year, I am a lot like my 6 and a 5-year-old in the backseat of a car going over there yet, over there yet, over there. I'm not the most patient person, and I want to succeed tomorrow. And success to me is when this court can expand. And when the court expands, that means that everybody, whether it's from Athens or Columbus or Augusta, Savannah, and everywhere in between, says that's where I want my business disputes to be. And so when every so often I come across somebody that says, "Hey, when does the business court open?" It just makes me cringe. That being said, we got a phone call earlier this week, late last week, about a case in state court here in Georgia that wants to come to business court. And Lynette and our first call was to Angie. Relationships. And so I think part of the reason why Angie for me was the right choice and the one that I was hoping the governor would make was because you won't find anybody who has said that she's challenging to work for, that she's challenging to work with, or who doesn't have a positive thing to say about her. And that's what the court needs. The court needs people who have run courts like Lynette has run a court. The people needs somebody who's run a clerk's office in the manner in which Angie's run it. I've taken my reputation as a Jones Day partner as far as I can take it. And from now on, it's going to be, what is the court as an institution? And on Monday, we have our first chance to make a first impression. And this is the woman that, and these are the people that I wanted to make that impression with. And then it's technology. I've been off-quoted, but one of the best things about being a court of one, in the sense of one judge covering an entire state, is that we were built to be nimble. We were built for video conferencing, audio conferencing. We were built for engaging the public in a different way than is traditionally engaged with from the judiciary, whether it's communicating by email, whether it's having a sophisticated ability to operate Zoom before it was cool to operate Zoom, that sort of thing that will enable us to engage litigants around the state. Where I'm handcuffed is I don't have the ability as easily to get in the car and fulfill the commitment I made to you last year, which was to drive to every corner of the state and to meet the litigants where they are. That day will come. That day is not today. But as it relates to opening and being prepared on Monday to do exactly what you were asking Ms. Davis about, We were built for this challenging time, and I think there's a backlog in the judicial system right now. There's a backlog in civil cases, and there are a lot of criminal and family law cases and other cases ahead of those civil law cases. And my hope is that even people who go, God, I don't know if I really want to be in that business court, well, we've got an open highway. And my hope is that people show the faith in using the business court and trust that we have built it in a way that is ready to serve them.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to recognize Senator Calzert for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Forgot I was not excused.
Yeah, while I still got you, Judge, I'm curious two things. One is, what is your anticipated volume of cases here, say in the first 6 months, and what is the rate of pay for Ms. Davis?
What is the rate of pay?
Yeah, what's the job pay? I think you're very lucky to have her agree to leave her pretty good job managing 78 people to come to a brand new court. I think we're all lucky, but I'm just curious what that anticipated volume is going to be and what the position pays.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The by statute, the clerk of the business court is paid equal to the Court of Appeals clerk's office. So just like you tied my pay to the Court of Appeals salary scale, her salary is likewise tied to the Court of Appeals. So that's $159,000 and change. If I'm not being indecorous talking about money in public, but so the one quirk is that I may come back to you and ask you to address that, because the clerk of the Court of Appeals is rather senior right now and is very high up on that salary scale. And I think we may have a little quirk in the law where Ms. Davis might find herself in a different tax bracket if, in one that she may not want to be in if we don't fix that. But right now it's tied to Mr. Castlin's, which is at $159,000. On the rate of pay, or sorry, on the number of cases, throw a dart at the wall. You know, when I was up here in February on talking about caseloads for the budget and trying to justify the staffing, you know, we analyzed the federal court, we analyzed the Delaware Chancery Court, we analyzed the Metro Atlanta Business Court, and we analyzed the North Carolina Court. I think we're probably, if we're successful, we're most akin to the North Carolina Court, which hears annually upwards between 200 and 250 cases a year. Now they cover an entire state with 7 judges, that sort of thing. We're not going to let that, if we have that number of cases, then I think we can all declare victory and go home. But the Metro Atlanta Business Court fluctuates anywhere between 20 and 30 cases, and some of those are by consent, a large portion of those are by single party. And so, you know, I'll stand up here in front of you today in an honest moment and say, if that's the caseload that we have, I'll be disappointed. Whereas the Delaware Chancery Court, just given their expansive jurisdiction, they have about 8,000, so you kind of throw that out. And you know, so where do I want to get those cases that some people might otherwise on diversity go, you know what, we might be well off in the Georgia Business Court. I view the federal court as like hey, I want some of those. I view the Metro Atlanta Business Case Division going, hey, I want some of those. But what I'd really like is for your constituents to say, you know what, I'll try out that Judge Davis and the Clerk Davis in the Georgia Business Court. And so aggregating all of those, my hope is that it's somewhere between North Carolina and the Metro Atlanta Business Court.
Any other questions from senators or members of the House Committee?
Oh, this is fun. I haven't gotten to do this in like a year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you coming back up, Judge. All right. You have a question, Ms. Oliver? You want to make a motion? All right. Let's go ahead and press your mic there, and we'll see if the chair can. Well, I have to not touch it. I have to click it. Hold on a second.
I move that the House Judiciary Committee confirm the nomination of Angela Davis as clerk of the Georgia Business Court.
There's been a motion by Representative Oliver for confirmation. There's a second by Representative Bruce. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ms. Davis, congratulations. You're confirmed unanimously. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of Senator Stone and myself, we appreciate all of you being here today. Thank you for all the guests, and we'll stand adjourned.